I'm so tired of people saying that it's just a movie, it's just a comic book, it's just a TV show. Whatever. No, it's not. Stories are the building blocks of our culture, of ourselves, even of our own psychology. We are a product of the stories we tell ourselves about our own past and the experiences on a daily basis, but also the stories that we choose to spend time with. What types of values, our feelings, or whatever are they promoting? What types that we like to spend our time around? They're going to shape us. They're going to shape our personality and character, and they're going to shape our perception of the world and the acts and behaviors that we put out into the world. And people don't understand that. They go, it's just a movie. It's just this. I can like and promote whatever I want. Well, of course you can, but you should pay attention to the responsibility that you have.
Consume stories responsibly.
As a member of society, as a human being, responsibility to yourself.
Consider the consequences.
You need some balance. You need some certain criteria that is going to make sure you're promoting the right kind of works, or at least have thought through the type of work that this or that story is going to do in our culture, and then make your own decision whether or not that's something you want to support.
Consume stories responsibly. Consider the consequences. Consume stories responsibly.
Didn't have the mic on. Try that again. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the live stream, to the Office Hour stream. I'm Professor Geek. Good to be with you guys again. It's been a couple weeks, I think, but I don't know what it is. Streaming, it's just the energy's not there. I got things, I want to talk about or something like that. But man, Saturday nights just wear me out. Maybe it's with the winter weather, which I love. I love the cold weather, but with the week and everything, it's just like, oh man. But here I am. I came here nonetheless, so we can talk about stuff. little dimmer since we got the Christmas tree up and everything, and I don't have the lamp that I usually use for some lighting, but you can see me a little bit in the mood light here. Welcome everybody. Looks like let me go all the way back to the top of the chat here. Ghost Planet Max Inc., of course. Welcome. Talking about WB. Yeah, so Netflix, is they're still finalizing it or whatever, but they're going to get WB. I hear you, the people who are like, rest in peace, WB, this and that. But I'm kind of like, Warner Brothers was already dead. I mean, like, there was nobody out there who was going to buy it and actually do anything right by it. So I couldn't care less by this news. Everyone's like, what do you think? I was like, I think some crappy people bought a property that was not doing anything but crappy stuff with, and they're going to do crappy stuff with it again. And like what, there's, I mean, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom and say, you'll never get another good story again. There's more wrong with the Hollywood system. There's more wrong with the popular entertainment world than just who owns a company. So this notion that, maybe if the right people buy Warner Brothers, no, that's not going to fix anything. Warner Brothers is garbage. Now, the properties that they own that we all know and love, including DC, including, Looney Tunes, all these kind of things, we know them and love them, and we'll always have the great classic stuff they gave us. But there's nobody out there who's actually willing, who has the money and is in the business and has connections in the business. There's nobody out there willing to actually make the right decisions. You've got to be a creative and a businessman, and those two aren't the same. And the business people don't hire good creatives. They don't know how to hire an actual person who will handle a story well. They just know how to think corporately. Okay, what worked last year? Do more of that this year. Do everything we did last year 2 times that to get more of that this year. They don't have the cognitive ability to think about what makes a good story. And so the Hollywood system is just a cancerous, it's on its deathbed, and it couldn't die faster, is in my opinion. Not because I don't miss. I miss the old classic days. I wish we could go back to something like that, but it's more than just the, who owns a production company. That's the problem. The problem is we've lost our monoculture. That's not the be all and end all of everything in itself. I mean, you could still survive in so much way beyond that, but there's so many other things wrong with it that who cares who bought Warner Brothers? They're all going to do something garbage with it. So yeah, that's just why I don't care about it. That's my thoughts on that. Nathaniel's Lowsball, welcome, Alec Purdue. Good to see you there. And the chat scroll bar is jumping around on me quite a bit here. You guys were chatting quite a bit here. Welcome, Studio Soups. Good to see you there. Private Eye, nice to see you. Ace Moick, welcome. Leia Plus Size, The Imaginative Hobbyist, Darth Enigma, Tom Spiegel, all of our usual people here. Hashir, the Gamer Bay. I don't know if I have the right pronunciation of that. My dear sound engravers here with us. Woke up from her nap just in time. Jason Takes Middle Earth. Good to see you there. Mr. D-Man. Got a membership flex here from Michael Schimbati. Welcome. Said, Prof, what do you think of Batman 89, Returns, Forever, Batman and Robin? Even though they were goofy, I would take them over Nolan and Reeves. I don't really. I know that when the movies were coming out, they were seen as supposed to be this the single universe. I know that even though they were, Schumacher was changing directions big time creatively, he was still, so to speak, building on the same universe as the Burton had created in those two movies. I just don't see them as that anymore, and I don't really know a lot of people who do see them that anymore. You've got the Burtonverse, which is awesome. You've got Batman Forever, the Val Kilmer Schumacher verse or whatever, which could have been a lot better, but still isn't as bad as, it deserves more credit than people give it for. Could have been better if you didn't have all this interference and whatnot. But, and then you got Schumacher's George Clooney Batman, which honestly, it's fun to watch in a sense that it's so bad. It's kind of, if you like Batman, it's just fun. I mean, it's Uma Thurman, fun to watch her as Poison Ivy. There's fun aspects of it. But it's not, I don't think anybody would argue that it's the real deal Batman or what it should be or anything. In fact, that movie is the one that really kind of, it ended Batman movies for a while, but then it also, it's also responsible for the overcorrection. This is something that Warner Brothers does time and time and time and time again. They overcorrect. People didn't like, people thought that Bryan Singer was doing too much of a Donner throwback with his Superman movie. Well, let's get somebody to do something really super gritty and get Nolan in here. Oh, Nolan doesn't. Well, let's get, Snyder, the Watchmen guy. They overcorrect. And I think it wasn't necessarily an overcorrection. Just looking at Batman Begins, how it was, that wasn't an overcorrection. If it would have delivered on all the promises that Nolan baked into that movie. But Nolan, even from the get-go, was never really interested in delivering on any of those promises. He was interested in marketing it, saying what he needed to say, whatever, to get people on board, and then he was just doing his Nolan auteur vision of the Batman universe, which some people love. Good for you, but it, I could talk a lot about that. Let's see. The Imaginative Hobbyist, welcome. Thank you for the super chat. Said Die Hard, a Christmas movie or no? I'm not really invested in that that debate. I know it's a fun kind of thing, but I do like. Die Hard was fine. It's not something I watch all the time, but yeah, I'd label that just because I would label Batman Returns a Christmas movie, even though it's not a Christmas movie, So yeah, I don't have any problem with people saying Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I think what kind of Christmas movie are you looking for? Are you looking for a feel good Christmas spirit movie? Then that's something, like Miracle on 34th Street or Scrooge or something like that. Are you looking for a movie that's got some Christmas, takes place at Christmas, then sure, go for it. Studio Super. So just got back from doing caricatures today and a Christmas parade. So I'm in a holly jolly mood. Awesome. Thank you. You sent me, Studio Super sent me some really awesome sketches. I don't want to give away your email and everything here. Maybe I will anyway. But I'll share the screen here. Just a couple of these sketches you sent me. Studio Super's art is I liked his art when he first sent it to me, but it's really come up quite a bit. I could download all these files, but I just didn't think to do that beforehand. So I'll just share here a little bit. But this is his Scarlet Witch, which is pretty freaking awesome. And Iron Man. He sent me some a Ghost Rider, which was so cool. Let me see if I can let me see. I'm gonna put the Ghost Rider up because that was really cool too. Some sketches, I think. I don't think you inked these yet or anything, but still really cool looking Ghost Rider. I mean, kudos to you for this. That was sweet. There it is. Yeah, really cool. So good stuff. Awesome. All right. Get that off there. Let's see. A bunch of other people. Hey, Chol, great to see you. 14 BIS or Biz 42, whatever. Good to see you there. Boop, boop. Man, this chat menu is jumpy tonight. I don't know why. All right, I think this is the next super chat. Let me know if I missed one. Oh yeah, Chol says Gremlins a Christmas movie. Yeah, sure. In fact, Gremlins actually is. That actually bridges the gap between a movie that just takes place at Christmas time and a movie that's a Christmas movie. And I have no problem. Like I said, I'm just parsing out specifics here. I'm not really invested in this debate. But Gremlins, it being Christmas time is part of that story. Like you can't get away from it having to be Christmas time. You could tell Die Hard or Batman Returns. You could tell those stories at a different time of year. You'd have to have some sort of office parties. You'd have to have some sort of weather being the same, but you could tell them at a different time of year. I don't think you could do that with Gremlins unless you really drastically change the story. Studio Soup says, which era of Superman comics is your favorite? Golden, silver, bronze, or modern? Also, more people come back to watch Batman and Robin than they did for BVS. Ouch. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather watch Batman and Robin any day over anything that Snyder's ever done. I don't care. I mean, I don't know what's a movie that people think is really good of his, which I don't even. But let's just say some like 300, all right, like the first 300. I think he did there, right? I'd still rather watch Batman and Robin than that. And it wasn't that. It's not that there's not a place for his style if you have somebody who's already written a solid story, because he can't tell a story. He's just a visual artist. But if the story's already solidly set and the story, something like 300 really suits his style, fine. But it's so disgusting how people just fawn all over themselves, like acting like his style and his despair-ridden, nihilistic take and color sapped palette is something great. It's just like, what, just pass, just screw it. I'd rather watch Batman and Robin than that. Yeah. And it's so annoying how people keep pitting, it looks like this could be bad news for James Gunn, which I love. I'm super happy about that. Screw James Gunn and all of his DC universe nonsense. I hope it dies in flames. But people are like, again, from the get-go, they've always been like, oh, so you must like Snyder then. Oh, if Gunn fails, then Snyder will come back in. How about they both suck and neither of them know how to tell a good Superman story and let them both go away. And I don't know why I don't know the details about the ins and outs of it, but people are like, Snyder's in good with Netflix. How is he in good with Netflix? I mean, I know that there's things behind the scenes or whatever, but like his crappy Star Wars wannabe movie was garbage. No one really thought that was a well done film that Netflix footed the bill for him and everything. Like, who's giving this man more money to do something? I'm not saying it's not going to happen or whatever. I'm not keeping up with the news behind the scenes, and I know some Saudi Arabia or whatever. Whatever. If they do, it'll be garbage. It'll just be more garbage drivel from Snyder. Just like the Snyder cut of the Justice League. We finally got it, guys. It's a piece of crap. No one really cares except for the 3 or 4 Snyder bros who spend all day on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. And they're going to say it's great anyway, Alec Purdue, Tokyo Godfathers is a modern Christmas classic. No idea what that is, but yeah, there's a lot of movies out there like that. Mr. D-Man, thank you for the super chat. Said Cleveland is Gotham City in real life. Is it really? You mean the ways that Snyder made Gotham and stuff? That's what I hate about DC movies. I hate this with a passion about DC movies. Stop trying to place it in the real world. Stop it. You can do that with a Marvel movie. Marvel, they just straight up set all of their heroes in New York City. DC has always been otherworldly. Both Metropolis and Gotham City are two different reflections of New York City. It's the city of tomorrow. Metropolis, the Art Deco, that's what it's supposed to look like. And the only live action movie that's ever gotten that right is Superman Returns. And I think even it could have done more. But that's the only live action movie that ever set Metropolis as a proper, city of tomorrow. Even James Gunn's crap didn't set it like that. And then the only movie that ever really set Gotham correctly was Burton's films. Nolan just set Gotham City as like Chicago or something. I mean, it was just a drab, boring, and then Snyder just it's like Cleveland or whatever. It was whatever. These should be otherworldly cities. These should be awesome. Stop trying to set DC universe in the real world. It doesn't work. It's dumb. All right, I think I caught up on the super chats there. Yeah, Tim Burton. I mean, let's just give a shout out to Anton Furst again, the one who won the award for the set design. I mean, that man he really got Gotham right. I mean, so much has been said about it. I don't even know what else I could say, but yeah, shout out to Anton Furst for that. The production designer, set designer, or whatever. I think it was art design. I forget the title he had, something like that. Production design, art design, or whatever. Obviously working within Burton's aesthetic, but he was the one responsible for that, and it was pretty great. Yeah, I'm showing Sound Engraver slowly but surely getting through the DC animated, cartoons or the animated series of the day. Sound Engraver she can only watch movies or TV shows like one night a week, basically. She's not she doesn't like to sit down and take in a lot of stories at one time. She listens to YouTube all the time. That's her thing. But we watched all 3 seasons of Batman the Animated Series, and then we watched Superman the Animated Series up to the point of the World's Finest, where it started going back and forth between Superman and the New Adventures of Batman and Robin, as they called it, which was the last season of Batman the Animated Series. And then we'll get into DC Justice League and the Justice League Unlimited and so forth. But it's cool to watch it again. And then there are even some episodes I'd missed back in the day, so it's good to watch everything, get the whole coverage. But it's good to watch it again kind of through her eyes too, because she's really invested in the story. She's a fun person to watch stuff with. If there's a story and the villain's kind of scary or whatever, what she was saying, she had a dream last night about a bizarro like creature or whatever, and it was kind of scary and this and that. I'm like, people ask, hey, do you watch horror, Sound Engraver? Have you seen I think you like this horror movie though. And like, guys, Sound Engraver is playing Luigi's Mansion right now, and that's a little extreme for her. She doesn't do anything that's horror related. She said, not true. I listened to my book. She listened to some audiobooks too. Pulling back the curtain on your YouTube addiction. Yeah, that Danny Elfman music is so great. That's forever linked to Batman, as it should be. Yeah, Schumacher's Gotham City isn't. I mean, it's certainly better than just setting it in Chicago or something like that, like Nolan did. And I do like it. I like how it even kind of goes over the top some places. I really like it. In fact, it's way more like you'd see a lot more elements of Schumacher's Gotham City in the comic book. So I actually really like his Gotham City, but he didn't come up with that from scratch. He's taken the Anton Furst Gotham City and just kind of dialing up the extremism, knob on that. So, all right. Let's see. What was I going to talk about? I had even a segue in mind here, but I can't remember what it was. Since you guys are talking about, let me grab this here. Let me just say this on this video here. You guys were talking, somebody mentioned how Batman Revolution is great, and you're right. It is. Batman Revolution. I don't have my copy of Resurrection here just yet. I know I've talked about this a little bit. You guys who are our usual listeners, you heard this before, but let me just kind of say all of this in one video so I can cut it out as its own thing. Because it's really important to me. I don't know if John Jackson Miller is looking to write another novel. I hope he is. I haven't really looked it up. I don't know if you know it's official yet, but I think he's kind of. It seems like, just as a reader, it seems like Revolution kind of completed his bridging of Batman '89 and Batman Returns, because by the end of Revolution, you've got Knox is out of the picture. It's also set kind of in around the year, because you've got Batman '89 taking place in the fall, and then Batman Resurrection took place in the spring, and then this takes place during the summer, the Revolution. Kind of feels like, I mean, there's more stories to be told. He could certainly tell another story in between Batman '89 and Batman Returns, but I want more of John Jackson Miller's vision of the Burtonverse. I want more of it, and I need it. If we're going to have any more of it, it needs to break free from Sam Hamm's garbage comic books that are set in the Burtonverse. We need to diverge these two continuities. It's just a given that Sam Hamm is not up to par with John Jackson Miller's writing here. Sam Hamm's books, the first volume, the second volume, he's not a very good storyteller. I talk a lot about the problems that he shoves all of these social politics into it, which is ridiculous. That's just one level of the problems that people have with Sam Hamm's Burtonverse comic books. The stories are very slow. They don't really deliver on things that they set up. And as I said before, you know, the Sam Hamm Burtonverse came out first. That was first before, you know, John Jackson Miller's novels, Resurrection, came out. So it was the first time we'd ever received an official new story within that Burtonverse, unless you count the Flash movie, which, you know, heaven help you. But it was the first time, you know, so we were all very excited. Oh man, this is great. We want to revisit that wonderful universe that we love so much, of the Burton's, you know, take on the Batman verse and stuff. We want to revisit that feel. We want to revisit those characters and everything. We want to go back to there. And what did Sam Hamm do? He said it like years and years after it. Well, Gordon's retiring now, and Batman's just kind of out of touch. He's an old gray-haired, you know, he's kind of, you know, losing his touch a little bit. Like, what? Like, who in their right mind thinks that'll please people who want to go back and relive that universe? No, what are you even thinking? You know, so it was just a stupid move from his original, you know, origination, his idea of the universe. And then he brings in all of these new characters so late in the game, you know. Yeah, I just don't care. I don't care about anything that happens in Sam Hamm's continuity there. And I think Warner Brothers, if they were at all smart, they don't have to cancel the Hamm's comics, because some idiot out there is going to go, I think they were great. You know, there's always one of those. Whatever. I mean, I wish they'd cancel it, but at the very least, just diverge the continuities. Break John Jackson Miller's novels free of the Sam Hamm crappy continuity, because there's a lot of things that have to be kind of shoehorned into these novels just to make sure readers know that he's not contradicting anything from Sam Hamm's tellings of later in the continuity or whatever. And I would enjoy these novels so much more, and really enjoy much more from them. I mean, it'd be great if you could have kind of a Star Wars EU, you know, kind of set up with the Batman Burtonverse. And I wouldn't really go full in on that, because I don't trust enough people to do it right. But if you got people like John Jackson Miller who are just real true fans, I mean, every page of Resurrection and Revolution, you can tell this is somebody who just dearly loves those two Burton movies, and he's reveling in being back in the universe. He's having a blast with it, and that's the spirit that I got from the old Star Wars EU. It wasn't Disney. It wasn't a bunch of corporations trying to, you know, push some agendas or make sure this, and that. I mean, if you learn about the way the Star Wars EU really got started, you know, after the Thrawn trilogy and Dark Empire or whatever, you just had these authors who were chomping at the bit because they dearly loved Star Wars. And we hadn't received any Star Wars movies since that original trilogy. It had been like over a decade at that point, or right around there or whatever. And they were just so excited. They were just a bunch of nerds getting together, and they would, you know, trade notes at cons or whatever. They would be, okay, you're doing that and yours. Okay, well, I'll do mine and this, and they were just having a blast with it. And it really comes through. Not that everything in the Star Wars EU is golden. I'm not saying there's no missteps whatsoever, but you really got the spirit of true fans that beloved that universe. With Sam Hamm, yeah, you're getting the screenwriter from the original movie who wanted to do different things anyway, and Tim Burton said no, and he got another screenwriter in over that, and then Sam Hamm even wrote the possible script for the Batman Returns, and Tim Burton said no, we're doing something different. And you can't help but to feel you've got like the jilted ex coming back going, we're doing it my way now. It's just it's horrible. It's awful, and it's such a shame because I like the art and it would be so cool. And some of the artists, Joe, what's his name, has done some concept pieces of like Norman Pincus's Riddler and stuff like that from these novels. So it'd be really cool to see some visual representations, but let's just get more of the novels, please. Break off the John Jackson Miller Batman Burtonverse novels, break that away from Sam Hamm's comics that he's doing. Give us more of this. This is what we want, So anyway, I just wanted to say all of that in one video because I feel like I'd said part of it in one stream and then a little part of it in a later stream. I just wanted to state it out there so I can cut it out and make it its own video. Anyway. I was also going to talk about video games. I had mentioned that I started playing Mafia. I'd never played any of the Mafia trilogy. And when it comes to video games, story is paramount for me. I'm looking for a good story first. I'm not somebody who just likes a challenge or, just get the thing in the thing or, that kind of thing, like old Nintendo games. They were fun, whatever. Sound Engraver loves that kind of thing. A challenge, and I'm not dumping on that at all. Some people really love that, and that's great. There's an appeal for it. I have no problem with it. But for me, if I'm really going to give my time to a video game, I want to give myself over to a story, and I have to trust the story, and it has to be a good story. So I also love open world games because then they allow you to feel like you're more immersed in the story. So you can the games I've talked about: Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemptions, both 1 and 2. The Kingdom Hearts, the first 2 games were so great with that. Batman Arkham games, just wonderful. I love feeling like I'm in the universe and I can play in the story and stuff. And I don't trust any of the new games. It's very, very rare that a new game comes out and isn't at least some crap that you have to put up with. Even if there's some good stuff in it, you kind of have to put up with some crap, And I noticed that with the what's it called? What's the samurai game? You guys know what I'm talking about, just with that samurai. What is it? It's open world. I can't remember the name of it, but I got the first one and I was playing through. It was kind of fun, but then the DEI starts creeping in. And so many people, even conservative, people were saying like, "Oh, you're gonna love it. It's not woke, guys. It's not woke." Are you kidding me? Have you played the whole thing? They slipped these little Ghost of Tsushima. Thank you, Sound Engraver. Yeah. They slipped these little woke DEI crap in everywhere. Like, apparently ancient Japan was, women warriors were everywhere and they were abounding and this and that. And, lesbians even, they're all over the place. Just stop it. So I didn't even finish that game because I'm just really super sensitive to that crap. Like the Spider-Man game, the first Insomniac Spider-Man game, I can play and still love because I like Spider-Man and the mechanics of Spider-Man and who Peter Parker was as Spider-Man was right. They tried to shoehorn a bunch of BS, man, I'm just blanking on everything, but they got the Miles Morales and Mary Jane. I don't want to say Jane. I was like, Jane's not right. Mary Jane. It was a horrible version of Mary Jane in that she's insufferable. I don't even like watching scenes with her in it. She's annoying, and they make you be her because she's a strong woman and she can be a hero too. Shut up. And then Miles Morales shoehorning all that in. But I'll put in the first game anyway. I'll put up with all of that crap just because the Spider-Man stuff was so good. But even then, I can't play a game like that too often. And I'll talk about another game like that in a second. So I was looking for more games, kind of open world, good story oriented games. And I do like a good noir game. LA Noire is one of my favorite games ever. That was just so great. And so I saw the Mafia trilogy. I'd heard some stuff about it. And I thought, well, let me give it a chance. And I played the first Mafia game. Really amazing. Tony Angelo. I think that's his name, the character you're playing. What a cool story. It's classic mob, genre, mafia. It's really solid. Great story arc. I think it rushed a little bit at the end, but it's just a great open world playing in the Lost Paradise there, which is the city they call it. Really solid. And I thought part two was the Lincoln Clay one, but I was wrong. Part two, your Vito, and it's Mafia 1 was set in the 30s, and Mafia 2 is set in the 40s, and then it crosses into the 50s, which is awesome. The music that they're playing is so great, the types of cars you're driving, and that's in a different city, Empire City, set in the same universe there, and there's, part of Tony Angelo's story crosses over into it. Really great. Mafia 2 was good. Again, I think it rushed the ending a little bit, but whatever. I had a fun time playing it. It was a blast. I couldn't get into Mafia 3. I just couldn't get into Mafia 3. And I'm not saying it's not a good game. Some people might play it and love it. But for me, a mob story, a mafia story, the extent of my interest in that mafia genre is big city, like 20s through the 50s or something, that, era. Mafia 3 was set in a fictional kind of New Orleans kind of city with this Vietnam vet who's coming back from Vietnam. He's not even really a mafia guy himself. He was raised by this guy who's kind of like local town mafia stuff, and then he takes on the mob and whatever. And it just felt, even the city, the cinematography of the game, if you can call it, it's just so dingy. And it just, when we're going through Empire City or Lost Paradise or Lost Heaven, I forget what the city was called in part 1, but it's that just felt like you were in a city. It was cool, it's otherworldly or whatever. I'm just kind of bored of that late 60s time period because it's been shoved down my throat so much. Great music. The game had great music. I started playing it. I got, a few missions in. I got to the point where he was actually going after the mob. And I just got bored. It just got kind of, man, this is all it is? I just didn't want to be in that world anymore. It was just it just didn't appeal to me. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad story or it's a bad game. Other people might love it and good for you. But it felt like a weird place to go as an end cap on a mafia trilogy. It wasn't really, what you think of as mafia in terms of popular culture. I mean, yeah, the mob's everywhere. They're not just in New York City. We get it, but, or Chicago or whatever. But, so I stopped playing that. I thought, yeah, I'll look for something else. I do have a, super chat here from Studio Soups. I'll talk about that before I get to my next thing. Said, always from the eat the rich types. You're too busy punching poor people to actually solve problems. Batman, when I see you attack people, you being poor or insane is the last thing on my mind. Exactly. Yeah. Batman's justice. Batman is justice where the city is too corrupt to bring justice. It has nothing to do with it. And that's what Sam Hamm tried to pour into it. Sam Hamm tried to pour in Black Lives Matter. He tried to pour in, as you're saying, lifestyle or income bracket discrepancies and all of this kind of garbage. What's that in the Batman story? Come on, just tell a good Batman story. Yeah, I could go on and on and on, but I won't. If it shows the corner, yeah, MJ wasn't even MJ in that game. She's more Lois Lane. She's a hack version of Lois Lane. Like Lois Lane, people tend to like her. The woke tend to embrace Lois Lane more than they will like a Mary Jane Watson. Because Mary Jane Watson, she's so problematic. She's a model and she's like walking around all sexy. And Lois Lane's a strong, independent woman. And you don't understand either of those characters if that's really what you think. But yeah, they took Mary Jane and tried to remake her into what they think of as Lois Lane. It was just an insufferable character. She's just annoying to be around. She's not likable in any way. She doesn't do anything that I root for. She's just a snotty, self-entitled, I can't stand her character in that game. And I won't touch any of the other ones. I think I tried playing the Miles Morales one just to see how bad it was or whatever, and I couldn't get through it. It was garbage. Certainly have no interest in part 2 or their Wolverine one. They can't, like, why are you continuing in this universe? The only thing that I guess technically you'd say that universe got right was the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which I don't think that was Insomniac. But that's technically set in their Avengers, Spider-Man universe or whatever. And that game was epic. Like I've said before, that game had no business being as good as it was. That was a shocker. That was one new-ish game that just rocked my world. I was like, how did this come out in the 2020s? Like, how was this allowed to exist? It's so good. It's so free of any preaching. It's just a really well told story with all of its themes organically developed. It's so wonderful. How did this get past, Sweet Baby Inc. and all their garbage, consultants out there and stuff? It's just, ugh. So anyway, so the other game, actually tonight, I'm going to start my yearly playthrough of Batman Arkham Origins. I'm very excited about that. But the other game that I just jump into this, Studio Soup says, MJ, I'm tired of you always saving me, Spidey. Then quit forcing me to save you. Cause and effect, learn it. Yeah. MJ Watts like, I'm a hero too. I can do this. And then she just stumbles into needing saved all the time. You're not a hero. You don't have superpowers. Deal with it, princess. I'm sorry. You can be as courageous and wanting the story for the new bugle all you want, but you don't have superpowers. Anyway, so yeah, tonight I'm about to start my yearly playthrough of Arkham Origins around this time of year. I'm super excited about it. I dearly love that game. I've actually got there's this company called Here Lies. Let me see if I can find the link and I'll put it in the chat. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Let's see. Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat here. It's very simple. It's just here-lies.com. But what they do is I bought two of their movies for Halloween. They've got like 4 or 5 editions for Halloween. They've got 2 for Christmas. I got both of them this year. But they'll send you a VHS tape, so a videotape. And it's also got a QR code so you can download all the contents of the tape on a computer file if you need, if you don't have a VCR and you want to watch it on a computer file. But they've got all of these old TV specials from the holidays. So if you get the Christmas ones, it's old Christmas special. I watched 2 of theirs for Halloween this year, and it was so great. They show you the old commercials. It feels like going back in time and just watching TV back in the day when the great, the Charlie Brown, the Garfield, there was even a television presentation of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and they've got all the great old commercials in between. There's local station, clips and whatnot, and news kind of things or whatever. And it feels like you're watching TV back in the day. It was so much fun, man. I dearly loved it. And I got the Christmas ones, and I'm going to start watching the first Christmas one. I've got a little VHS TV combination that I'm going to set over on the side and have that playing. And then, maybe I'll look at that and bounce between that and Arkham Origins or whatever. But yeah, Here Lies. It's really great. Each one is, I think, 20, 30. I mean, it's worth it though. They pack the VHS tapes full. And like I said, even if you don't have a VHS player, you've got the QR code they send you with it that you can download all the contents and just watch it on your computer if you need to. So it's great. So anyway, just going to be doing that tonight. But I had a little bit of a gap time in between finishing out the Mafia games and wanting to play, wait until a certain time period here in Advent to play the Arkham Origins game. So I was like looking for something to play in my downtime. And it was over Black Friday, PS Now, PlayStation's network or whatever. They had a huge sale on a lot of their games. I mean, some really crazy, discounts on a lot of the games. And I actually picked up Hogwarts Legacy for like $4.99. It was insane. It was insane that I got this game for that cheap. Something like that. If it wasn't quite that, it was under $10. It was that for sure. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool because the idea of Hogwarts Legacy really appealed to me. An open world game about Hogwarts. I mean, how can that not perk your ears up if you're at all a Harry Potter fan? And I'm not like a big, huge Potterhead, but I really dearly love those books. I read them in my 20s when they came out in the 2000s, and I went to see the movies. I stopped seeing the movies right around 4, I think. I think after 4 or 5, I stopped because I just didn't like the look that the movies were going for. Hogwarts, even as the books progressed, and Harry Potter gets a little moodier. He's growing up. He's a teenager. He's going through heavier stuff. We get it. The subject matter increases. I'm fine with that. But the books still felt like you were going off to someplace magical. The first 2 Harry Potter movies, Chris Columbus's first 2 Harry Potter movies, 100% captured that. 100% magical universe. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Hogwarts is this grand magical place. The wizards, the professors were these interesting people. When Cuarón came in and made Prisoner of Azkaban, there's a great things about Prisoner of Azkaban. Sirius Black, what's his name? Dracula. I'm blanking on his name right now. Playing Sirius Black, the guy playing Lupin. I mean, there are some great actors. There were some great things in the Azkaban film, but but the magic was just sapped from that universe to a large extent. Hogwarts became just this dumpy old castle on a hill. Michael Gambon is a terrible Dumbledore. I know Richard Harris died and they had to replace him, obviously, but Michael Gambon was not the person to replace him with. Richard Harris brought to Dumbledore a quiet grace that you really see in the books, too, if you read the books first. Just a quiet grace about him. Michael Gambon's just sort of this aloof, bumbling, but he's not really bumbling because he's really powerful. He knows what's going on, but he's also really super not even interested in what you're saying anyway. I pass on Gambon as Dumbledore. And I think I watched the fourth movie too, and I was just done. It's like, movies aren't really capturing the magic of the books for me anymore. But Hogwarts Legacy, all the stuff I saw about it really looked like it was capturing the feel and the magic, and it is. I've played I think my wizarding character is up to level 20 now. I haven't even had all the classes yet. I just like to go out and explore the world, and I just learned the Repulso spell, so I'm not too terribly far into it even, but it takes place a couple centuries, 2-3 centuries or whatever before the Harry Potter world. And then one of the things I'd heard about Hogwarts Legacy before I even played it was that it gets woke, and that's why I'd never even bothered buying it or getting into it. But when I saw it for like $4.99, I thought, okay, I'll be out $4.99. I'll give it a try. And good things about it is it's 100%. It captures the universe, your character that you play, the spell casting and all of this stuff. I love it. I love the open world. I love the look of Hogwarts. Really great things. Even the story so far seems really great. But they do. You sense that where Sweet Baby Inc. or some such company like that just came in and took their little DEI craps all over everything here and there. In would this be? I can't remember the exact year, 16 or 1700s or whatever. London is not that ethnically diverse, at least in terms of people, educated people and jobs and so forth. But it's just a human rainbow in this game. All of your professors are from different ethnicities and so forth, and they shove it in. It's not overt, but if you talk to enough characters, you're like, oh, are you related to this Treadwell? Oh, yes, she is my wife. It's this woman who says she is my wife. Like, no, sorry, you don't have open lesbian relationships in the 1600s. And if that was a thing in the wizarding world, then it would have been rampant in the books, but it's not. I don't care what J.K. Rowling came out and said afterwards about, well, I thought Dumbledore was always gay. Well, you didn't put it in the book, so screw you. It's not there. If it was that open, especially in times past, it would have been all through the books, and it's not. So it's you really DEI coming in and just ripping holes in the believability or the suspense of disbelief in the whole thing. And it's also, it just goes to show how the woke can't write. Now, there's good writing in Hogwarts Legacy. I'll still continue to play it, at least unless it gets really crazy on me. But the overall story arc is fine. That's good. The basic dialogue between the characters is absurd. These are teenagers in a school, right? Your character is supposed to be like 14, 15 or something like that when you enter the school. And it's a big deal because, you're one of the few students in history who's entered into Hogwarts as a fifth year. And the way these students talk to each other is completely absurd. The white students are all either troublemakers or are nerdy or bumbling or whatever. The students from Africa or India or Asia, they're wonderful, and so it's typical, right? And then the way they talk to each other, like, have you ever been to a school and heard teenagers talk to each other? They're not that nice. The books got that. I mean, freaking J.K. Rowling captured that, how school children actually talk to each other and stuff. And it's not that they're nothing but evil to each other, but this one is just like such a DEI wet dream. It's just like, it's kind of like Spider-Man. It falls into the Spider-Man category for me. There's some good stuff in it. And so far there's enough good stuff in it that I'll keep playing it. But it's just where DEI is just crept in and just takes its little dumps all over everything good in our culture, and it just ruins storytelling. That's really annoying. But tonight, like I said, that's all about revisiting Arkham Origins, so I'm excited about that. All right, I got a couple super chats here. Let me go back to make sure this is the right one. Okay, yeah. All right. So the next super chat that I missed there was Hashir said, the woke intentions to replace Peter is annoying. Yeah, they're trying to replace him with Miles Morales or his daughter or whatever. They've been trying to do that in the comic books forever. And they've really even taken it to the point where their Peter Parkers and even their actual Peter Parkers in most iterations are so not even worth being called Peter Parker. It's just like, you know what, just go ahead and do it. Just replace him so that you can stop pretending that you're still telling a good Spider-Man story, you know. Studio Soup says conceding to her being as much of a hero as Peter feels like caring for someone with dementia. Yeah, sure, you're a real hero. Have more Jello. Exactly. You know, and she in that game, and she's like, "We're gonna be partners. We're gonna be partners." And I'm gonna. And he's like, "How? Why are you sneaking into this place where there are people with guns?" He's like, "Don't you talk to me like that. I'm your partner. We're both. You don't have superpowers. If someone shoots you, you die. If someone shoots Peter, he's got a better chance of dodging it or healing from it or whatever." It's just absurd. But that's hey, that's modern feminism. That's modern. Shut up with your logic. You know, it's ridiculous. Tom Spiegel, thank you for the super chat. Said I noticed some changes. Columbus had, you're talking about the movies going from, you're absolutely right. The warm colors gone. This color sapped blue gray icky palette. Yeah, Columbus had warm colors focused steadily on his actors. After a point, the colors were cold, and the camera was always drifting around like the audience was a mosquito. You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's why the Potter movies just lost my interest after a time period. I'll still go back and watch those first two because I love them so much. And I love the stories that take place in the later Potter movies because I read all the books, you know. I thought that was great. And it's not that I think J.K. Rowling is a great, amazing writer. She's not. But she really did she did a great job taking the hero's journey and capturing it in the coming of age. You know, this is a mythical universe. It's a mythical way of going to school, this boarding school of wizarding boarding school, right? And I'm a kid in America, never didn't know anything about boarding school anyway, like actual British boarding school or whatever. But she captured that angst and that all of the struggles and all of the hopes and everything that you enjoyed about being a kid, you know, in that age, the challenges and everything. She captured all of that so well, wrapped it in the hero's journey so well, and that's why I love the Harry Potter books for that reason. But yeah, no one's trying to say she's a literary great or anything, you know. Darth Enigma, thank you very much. Said amazing how 1890s Britain was somehow more progressive and ethnically diverse than the 1990s Britain. Yeah, it's so absurd. The woke just have no logical part of their brain is functioning whatsoever. They are so 100% given over to the ideology that you can't argue with them. I mean, you know this. You can't try to make them see reason. You can't try to show them, hey, this is good for the story, but it's not good for my message. That's all they care about, the message. You know, and it's really annoying when you got somebody who actually writes a good story, and then you got these little woke trolls coming in. But make sure you put this in, and make sure that you screw you. Get out of here. I can't wait for the day when video game companies and movies or whatever just tell Sweet Baby Inks of the world to go F themselves. Get out of here. No one wants you. Anyway, Studio Soups says, speaking of, has anyone noticed no one seems to be talking about Miles anymore? I mean, they tried crapping on Peter, so they'd prefer Miles, but they all were talking about Peter deserves more. I'm not really in touch. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. Probably. I'm not really in touch with the Spider-Man conversation of the day. It's kind of like the same thing with a lot of things. I to heck with the Spider-Man conversation being had today. It's so far gone. I don't care what they're saying, you know. If I'm going to watch a good Spider-Man, it's going to be something old, or I'm going to go read the old comics or whatever. But yeah, I do. I think you're probably right. I'm just not as up on that current conversation about it. Like, I don't care about the new movie, the Tom Holland movie or whatever. I don't care. Whatever. Just hurry up and get it over with so it'll go away. Yeah. Mr. D-Man says Miles Morales would have been a great character if they brought him in to the Marvel Universe organically. So they just shoved him into it. Yeah, I haven't really read the original. Was it Bendis? But he started out as an alternate universe Spider-Man, and that's fine. That's fine. If you want to explore like Elseworlds or alternate universes, fine. But you're absolutely right. They shoehorned him in, and then the DEI agenda refuse to allow these characters to be called anything but Spider-Man. No, he's Spider-Man too. You've got two Spider-Mans in this universe. Just deal with it. He's Spider-Man and he's Spider-Man. No, he's Spider-Boy. He's whatever, if you're going to actually do it in an organic way. That whole notion of that's why any chance I get to call Jane Lady Thor, her crappy Thor character version, she's Lady Thor. She's not Thor, and she's not even Thor at all. She's not even Lady Thor. But that makes the woke so mad. Like, stop calling her Lady Thor. She was Thor. She wasn't. Thor is a man's name. It's not a title. Shut up. It's she's a pale reflection, as is Miles Morales, a pale reflection of Peter Parker. Doesn't care. It doesn't matter how much more powerful they try to make him. How he's got extra powers, and he's a piece of crap. He's not a good character. Could have been, but he's not. Stop pretending that he is. Yeah. Shattered Dimensions, Ohas. Yeah, I've heard good things about Shattered Dimensions. You talking about the video game? I think didn't they do a comic too? The video game I've looked for, if that's the one where you can play as Spider-Man Noir and all the different Spider-Mans. I've tried to find the video game on the PS2 back in the day, but it's expensive now to get it. But one video game thing, I talked last time about, and I've been telling Soundgrave a little bit about this. I'm kind of like I'm inching farther and farther into maybe giving MetaQuest a chance at some point, or some sort of virtual VR thing as a chance. I was talking last time about how they've got Arkham Shadow, which I'm interested in trying. There's even an LA Noire case file that you can play through. You can pretend to be Spider-Man or Iron Man and stuff like that. And I don't like first-person shooter games on a flat screen because there's a disconnect. Like, if I'm really in the world, I'll be able to see the things around me. But if you're playing on a screen, it's like, okay, you're in the real world, but this is all you can see. So I don't like first-person shooter games. But in a VR kind of setting, it might be fun. But as I was saying last time, it would give me motion sickness. And I was looking it up a little bit more, and apparently that's a common thing. Apparently, and this is like a super noob revelation. I know anybody in the virtual VR gaming thing knows this, but you have to kind of train your brain with it for a while. You have to kind of play a little bit, kind of work yourself up to the point where you don't get sick anymore. Apparently, I guess maybe some people are just too prone to motion sickness to even get there, but I don't know. Part of me really, really wants to try it though, but they're really expensive unless you get them on like a post-Christmas or a super good deal or something. So I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be talking about some VR stuff. I don't have a PS5, and they've yet to give me a reason to buy a PS5. So the PS VR thing is out of the question right now. Plus, that'd be super. That'd be like what the PS5s are like $500 anyway, and then MetaQuest or PSVR thing on top of that's just ridiculously out of the world. Let's see. Sheer says current writer's biggest kryptonite for Spider-Man is getting him married. Yeah, they act like it was the worst thing in the world. Those comics were great though. When he was married to Mary Jane Watson, those were wonderful. They had a daughter. Those were good comics. And it was idiotic Tom Brevoort, who was the editor in chief, and there was writers trying to push him into, breaking that up, make that never happen. You don't have to tell stories from that era. You can stick with young Peter Parker all day long, and I'm happy with that too. But yeah, heaven save comic books from their editors. Their editors are just goofballs who don't know a thing about the characters these days. Dan DiDio, Tom Brevoort. But comic book, that industry's dead, and good riddance. I just want it to die off. I don't want it to be saved. I would love it. Just same thing with like Hollywood and movie production companies. I would love to go back to a day where it was, good stuff was coming out and this is how it worked and everything, but we're not going back to that day. Too much is broken in our culture and in our entertainment industry to ever just, well, if the right people are involved. No, it's too much. The cancer's too deep. You can't just get the right person, it's no. That's why I think the only thing that'll save it is public domain. And some people just every time they hear that, but then people can do all of the crap. Yeah, they can do that now. Look at the crap that they're doing with these characters and actually licensing it and putting it on the big screen. Go ahead and open it up. The cream will rise. If you get people writing good Spider-Man or good Superman stories, people are going to go buy that over, Dan Slott's official spider crap, whatever. Anyway. We are just about at the 1 hour mark too, man. That flew by. Um, maybe. Oh, oh, it says Mayday is the true successor. I just read May. I was like, Aunt May? I'm not I'm not as up on Marvel, even classic good Marvel continuity up as I'm not as up on that as I am on DC because I was a DC guy growing up. That's what I read, and in all of the Marvel stuff, I would get exposed a little bit here and there. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and the X-Men '90s anime show, all that was just epic. I loved it. But in terms of comic and the real lore, this stuff I've had to kind of come back, in my adult life and kind of go through. So I'm not as versed on that as I am. I haven't played Fire Emblem, Alec Purdue. I'm not really crazy about Sound. I told Sound Engraver about it. She'll probably play it at some point. Um, I don't know. I just don't see it. I just don't see me playing that anytime soon. I'm just not a. I mean, maybe if there are no good stories, and I'm so overplayed on all of the great old stuff that I've played for so long, and I'm desperate for something new. I mean, maybe in 10, 15 years, but I couldn't really see myself getting into that kind of classic Final Fantasy-esque uh gameplay, I don't know. But also I'll be honest, if it looks like anime, that's a mark against it for me. Not that it can't be good, of course, and I know it probably hurts your heart me saying that, Alec Purdue. I don't mean to hurt you, buddy, but but it's just not a selling point for me. If it looks like anime, it's just like, oh boy. To me anyway, and that's just because of my experience with anime. I know there's good stuff in anime, obviously. But I do think Sound Engraver is going to rip into that game for too long because she's blasting through Luigi's Mansion 3. She played through 2, the HD redo they did, and then she's blasting through 3 that we have. I had bought Epic Mickey, the revamp of Epic Mickey, which I enjoyed back in the day. She might play that, but we do have Fire Emblem. I think Alec Purdue, you gave it to us, so she's going to be I think probably playing that soon before too long. All right. Oh, Prof said to save you the trouble. Then it's about May Parker and Peter's mom as teenagers. Hey, if it's a good story, I'm not opposed to it. But is that a woke thing? Is that something new that they did? Because yeah, if that's the case, that's garbage. If it's an old thing that they did, I'd be more likely to give it a chance. Yeah. Oh yeah, AL. So my son is trying to get me to play Dispatch, which you are ex superhero who is a dispatcher for dysfunctional superheroes. That looks interesting. I don't know anything about it. So if it's a woke piece of garbage or something, then people and I should know this or whatever. I just don't. All I saw was like a brief clip from it or something in a YouTube short that popped up one time, and I didn't even know it was a thing. And I looked like, what game is this? And I looked up, and it's a computer game. You just get it on Steam. It's not a console game, was my understanding, but I can still play it on my computer. But yeah, there's a possibility I might check that out because the premise looks cool. I like that kind of superhero stuff. All right. Darth Enigma says Fire Emblem recommendations: Genealogy of the Holy War, Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, Echoes Shadow of Valencia, for Sound Engraver. Yeah, see, it might be good, but hearing all of this stuff is just like, too much. Just gonna go play Arkham. Stop. Just I don't know. But I do think, from what I've heard about it and from what Alec Purdue has told me about Fire Emblem, I do think it's right up Sound Engraver's alley. So maybe I'm wrong. We'll see what she thinks if she gets around to it there. Alec Purdue said, "Can I tempt you with Sonic Frontiers or Sonic Shadow Generations?" Is that a Switch game, or is that have they redone that for like the Xbox or something? I don't know. I'm not a huge Sonic guy. I liked playing Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 on my Sega Genesis back in the day. That's about the extent. I like some of the Sonic cartoons, That's about it for me in Sonic, really. I'm not against Sonic. I don't have anything problem with it or anything, I'm not really drawn to, how do I say this? I don't want to make it sound like I don't like this kind of stuff, I'm not really anthropomorphic animal characters really isn't a selling point for me. Um, doesn't mean I don't like some anthropomorphic animal character. Like I love the Disney afternoons. I'll sit there and watch some Darkwing Duck or Tailspin or whatever. That's great, you know. But when it gets to some serious story, like even reading, I read Redwall. I don't know if you guys know those novels. Redwall is about the little mouse who wants to be a knight, and the mice are being oppressed by the rat race and everything. It's a good story. It's a fine story. But it was just like, okay, so there are no humans here. Like it's just like I read the first book and it was good. It was a good book. But I just couldn't bring myself to read the second one because I just can't get into stories about anthropomorphic animals too much so. I mean, I love Narnia, but humans are really the center of that story. The animals are around them and they're talking animals, and that's fine. No, it's just me. And that's not a value judgment or an opinion. It's just the same way that I can't really get into characters who just have a helmet. Like I need to see a face. Give me some expression, you know? It's probably one of the reasons why I never really got into Transformers back in the day. And again, it had nothing to do with, oh, I don't think it's a very good. No, Transformers is amazing. I know Transformers is great, but I just couldn't watch it as a child because it was just these mechanical fixed faces, you know. It's like, give me some more expression from a character, you know, give me something to look at, to latch on to. I'm just telling you guys about my weirdo kind of things that, you know, help me get into a story or kind of turn me off of them or whatever. Oh, okay. Joe Savage Dispatch is amazing, made by some original Telltale developers. That's cool. That tells me that I definitely want to give it a chance then. That's definitely on my list then. And I think you can get it on Steam for like $20. It's not even that expensive. So that's pretty great. Hashir says this is off topic, but current comic art is bad. Preach. Yeah. Got no arguments with you there. Really, when it comes to comics, the only comics I buy are classics back in the day that I'd either missed or was want to get graphic novel bounds of the individual issues I had or whatever, or creator owned content, like Cyberfrog or oh man, I can never think of it. The name John Malin's X-Men / Universal Monsters. I'm always blanking on the name of it. But Graham Nolan, Art Bear, those good, really good, black and white by Art Bear is so freaking good. I got to talk more about that. She by what's his name? Tired tonight, guys. Brain farting all over the place, losing all these names and everything. But we are at the hour mark, and I'm probably about done because I'm gonna end up forgetting everything else. But Sound Engraver, the chat really wants you to play Fire Emblem, and I kind of do too at this point because I want to hear if you like it. I forget which Fire Emblem. Alec Purdue, which Fire Emblem did you give us? Because it's over there still. It's in our stack, our little modest stack of Switch games, and I'm sure she'll get to it eventually because she's been blasting through some games on the Switch. I'm so glad that she likes that Switch. I gave it to her for Christmas. Was it last year, Sound Engraver? No, 2 years ago. 2 years. Yeah, I got all my Christmas shopping done this year. I got a couple more gift cards to buy for like my sister and her kids. Are like, just give me like gift cards, which is so boring. Please never tell somebody to buy you a gift card because it's like, I don't really trust you enough to buy me some. Just give me money. It's such a horrible thing to ask for. And some wonderful people in my life will ask for gift cards. I know they don't get it, but if you are going to give somebody a gift anyway, you have to take the time to think about that person, get to know them to the extent where you can think of something they might really like. And if that person, you're like, well, what if they don't like it? They're so particular about this. Look, if they don't like it, they should at least recognize the thought you put into trying to buy them something. Like if somebody really was trying to get me a gift, they didn't know anything about geek stuff. They found out that I like Superman, and they were really trying this, and that, and they got me this cool Superman thing or whatever, but it was the wrong, like, let's say it was the new 52 costume of Superman, All right, so yeah, that's not a Superman thing I'm going to want or actually use or whatever, because I don't like that costume, right? But I would never let them know that. I would be like, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you for thinking about me. And people today are just terrified that they won't use the thing I'm going to get them. So they don't, gift giving was an expression. It was, hey, I care about you enough that I want to give you something and I want to take the time to get to know you a little bit and figure out what I think, will be a blessing to you, what I can give you, that's gift giving. And people don't want to get into that level of it anymore. People just want to be like, oh, can I just like give you an Amazon gift card so I can check you off? And it's kind of like, you know what? Just don't bother. But anyway, I don't know where that tangent came from. I mean, of course, it's nice getting money. I'm not saying money's bad. If I got a gift card, hey, I can go buy something I like. But I don't really feel like the person did me any personal favor. I was just on their list and they checked me off. Anyway, all right. I am going to wrap it up now. But thank you guys for hanging out. It was a lot of fun coming back to the stream after not being on the stream for a few weeks. But I'll be back next week again. I think the week after that, I won't be because I'll have my daughter. No, I have my daughter the week after Christmas. So I will be here the next couple weeks. But the Saturday night after Christmas, I don't think I'll be able to stream. Maybe I'll do like a Sunday night stream or a Monday stream or something for New Year's, just before New Year's comes around. But I will be here for the next couple anyway. So got a lot of Christmas lights to go look at and a lot of Christmas events to take her to and whatnot. But you guys enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful start of the Christmas season or Advent season if you're celebrating it like us. But until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the true blue hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.